Bronny James is the most hated NBA player right now, and I don't think that's up for debate. It doesn't matter who I make a video about, Yuki Kawamura, Mac McClung, LiAngelo Ball, Kenneth Lofton, I'm gonna see hundreds of comments on every video saying the same thing. If Bronny is in the NBA, why isn't insert random player here? I do understand why. Bronny James was the worst player on a guaranteed NBA contract. Key word though, was, because the narrative is now changing in real time, because what you will realise in this video is that Bronny James is a significantly better basketball player than he was 6 months ago, and every passing game he's looking less like Bronny James and more like LeBron James Jr.
I am pleading with LeBron James as a father. Stop this. Stop this.
Now this comes as the ultimate plot twist because it doesn't change the fact that Bronny James did not deserve to get drafted, and that's why he gets the hate. From day one he felt like an artificially planted player, like it was decided that he was going to play for the Lakers with LeBron well before we even knew if he was going to be good enough or not. Fans felt cheated that Bronny didn't really earn anything. While he was a good high school player at Sierra Canyon, being ranked the 21st best player in the country was incredibly generous, and there's no denying that he was picked ahead of more deserving players for the McDonald's All-American game. This doesn't mean that Bronny was bad, he was a really good high school player, a legitimate starter at a big school. Let's not mistake him for a YMCA player, but to say his abilities were overstated would be an understatement. And you can get away with this at the grassroots level because the only thing that really matters is your status within the system, and Bronny, whether he deserved them or not, had the accolades of a top draft prospect. He also had his moments on big occasions, like when he went off in the McDonald's All-American game.
Omaha Ballou feeds Bronny James. Can Holloway now guard Bronny? Oh, from NBA range!
And more importantly, they're playing as though they have something to prove.
Bronny James, splash!
He could have made that three. Threes count more than two.
Bronny James wants another three. Give it to him. Come on, Bronny.
Or even this game for Team USA, when Bronny went toe-to-toe with Zachary Risacher, the #1 pick in the most recent draft, and actually outplayed him. Eventually though, there does come a point where all the rankings, narratives, who you know and what people say about you on TV doesn't matter. And that's once you step onto the court on the big stages. And what we saw repeatedly in the beginning was Bronny James' game not living up to his name. And by name, I don't mean son of LeBron James, I'm talking his name as a top 20 recruit All-American prospect. One thing I know you'll all agree with is that injuries are the worst part of sports. But it's not just athletes, everyday people deal with injuries in real life too. I'm personally dealing with an Achilles injury that severely affects my mobility and everyday life. Nobody expects to get injured, you can't prepare for it, it just happens. Which is why I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. Most insurance companies claim to have your back, but they really don't. They often lowball and offer you far less than what's needed to support you and cover the costs. Morgan & Morgan are different. As America's largest injury law firm, they're serious about getting fair compensation for their clients. With over 1,000 attorneys and more than 30 years of experience doing just this, Morgan & Morgan have a proven track record of getting results, even winning up to 40 times more than the initial insurance offers for their clients in some cases. Of course, every case is unique and there are no guarantees, but you can trust that Morgan & Morgan will fight hard for people just like you if you become their client. One of the best things about Morgan & Morgan is you don't have to pay anything up front. You don't pay anything unless they win the case. And getting started is really simple. In just a few minutes you can find out if you have a case directly from your mobile phone, so there's no need to go through stacks of paperwork or waste your time sitting through endless appointments. It's a quick and easy way to get the help you need and deserve. So if you've been seriously injured, don't wait and find out what your case could be worth. You can start your claim now with Morgan & Morgan at www.forthepeople.com/DKM, found in the description, or scan the QR code on your screen from your phone's camera. Thank you to Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. In college, the numbers were below average. As a freshman at USC, he averaged 4.8 points, 2.8 rebounds and 2.1 assists, shot 36% from the field and 27% from three-point range. These numbers do not scream NBA draft pick whatsoever. Matter of fact, in terms of on-court production, Bronny James was one of the 3 least productive college players to ever get drafted. And unlike the other two guys, guys who averaged similar numbers, there wasn't anything extraordinary about Bronny's potential in terms of athleticism or physical gifts. Fans aren't stupid either. They watched Bronny play 20 college games and struggle against his peers. Clearly not good enough, but were then told that he was an NBA prospect based on what he did in private workouts, scrimmages and drills leading up to the draft. And the fans are supposed to believe that what he did there was so impressive that his stock skyrocketed from the 98th best player in the draft to a top 50 player. Everybody knew it was all a lie, that the Lakers, LeBron, Clutch Sports, JJ Redick and the NBA itself were all in on this massive plot to get Bronny to the Lakers to play with his dad. He was selected in the second round with the 55th pick and signed to a guaranteed 4-year NBA contract. Now this is what annoyed people the most. It wasn't the fact that Bronny got drafted, it was the fact that an unproven second round pick got a 4-year deal. Meanwhile, other second round picks are on non-guaranteed 2-way deals that could be cut at any given time. A lot of people who respect the game of basketball resented this Bronny James situation, because basketball to a lot of people represents one of the few avenues in life where it doesn't matter who you are, who you know, or where you come from. You're either good enough or you're not. It's that simple. But Bronny was clearly exempt from all of that because of who he was. He didn't have to be a great high school or college player to end up in the NBA. He just needed to be LeBron James Jr. And that's why he faced so much scrutiny in the beginning. People were waiting on him to fail, and it couldn't have happened any faster. NBA Summer League in Las Vegas. This was the opportunity for Bronny to prove everyone wrong and show that he does belong. But Summer League was disastrous for Bronny James. Of players that received significant playing time, he was statistically one of the least productive, averaging 7 points, 1.5 assists, made 2 of 22 3-pointers, which is 13%, and he also shot 29% from the field. Those numbers are objectively bad, so again, NBA fans are looking at this thinking he wasn't good in college, he wasn't good in Summer League, so how on earth in a few months' time is he going to be able to compete with the best of the best in the NBA? But just at the end of Summer League, when everybody was about to write Bronny off, he threw the fans a bone, a reason to be optimistic, closing the tournament with 2 solid performances.
Every time number 9 touches the ball, there is a buzz in this arena. What a start for Bronny. Rips the cords from the mid-range. Colin Castleton, a 2-way player for the Lakers. Bronny's got it. 2 more. Here's Bronny. Isolated against Gay. Finger roll. Rolls in.
Inside the arena audience as well as a television audience.
Bronny knocks down the 3.
In Summer League, and they think that he can be a contributor with the big team. And Bronny knocks it down.
But it's one of those plays that could come back to bite.
Bronny with the left, high off the glass. He's got 16 points a game, 10 of them coming here in the fourth quarter. Bronny stepped back into that 3.
But as shown in his overall stats previously, these 2 games weren't enough for everyone to forget about how he was unplayably bad for most of Summer League. And his doubters were further vindicated in NBA preseason. Bronny played 6 preseason games with the Lakers, had 2 points on 1 of 6 shooting against the Timberwolves, 0 points in 13 minutes against the Suns, 0 points in 6 minutes against the Bucks, 2 points in 9 minutes against the Warriors, and 4 points in 14 minutes against the Suns again. During preseason, Bronny averaged 4.2 points, shot 29% from the field, and a pathetic 8% from 3-point range. Yet again, Bronny James was clearly out of his depth and still got opportunities that fans felt he didn't deserve. He started the season with the Lakers, he made his NBA debut against the Timberwolves, and that night, the moment we'd all been waiting for finally happened. The first father and son duo in NBA history shared the court together.
History tonight. The first father-son duo to play together in an NBA game.
This was supposed to be a monumental moment in basketball history. LeBron James was on the court with his son in an NBA game, but it felt inauthentic, forced and cheap, and that's why it wasn't celebrated the way it should have been, because it felt as if Bronny could have been anyone, and it isn't as impressive to see when it feels undeserving. The next time Bronny played NBA minutes was another sentimental moment, playing against the undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers, which marked possibly the last homecoming for LeBron James Sr., but also the first for Bronny James. And this game, October 30th, was also the game Bronny scored his first NBA field goal.
James, guarded by Tyson, steps back, and Bronny James has his first points
in the NBA.
Spoiler alert, he'd have to wait over 100 days for his next one. But this wasn't even rock bottom for Bronny James just yet. The Lakers knew that putting him out on an NBA floor for extended time periods would destroy him. So they sent him down to the G League, hoping there he'd develop into a better basketball player. And his G League debut was more of the same. Against the Salt Lake City Stars in 31 minutes, Bronny had just 6 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals and a block. He shot 2 of 10 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3-point range, and also had 5 turnovers. Yet again, in his second game against the Stockton Kings, Bronny had 4 points, 2 of 10 shooting again, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and shot 0 of 2 from 3-point range. And it just seemed like this is who Bronny was. It didn't matter if it was college, summer league, NBA or G League, put him on a basketball floor and regardless of the competition you'd see the same thing. And that was Bronny turning the ball over, scoring under 5 points and shooting terribly from the field and perimeter. He wasn't just bad by NBA standards, he was statistically the worst player on the court no matter where he played or who he was up against. And then reports came out that made us question his legitimacy as an NBA player even more, when it was announced that Bronny James would only be playing home games for the South Bay Lakers. This outraged a lot of fans. It made it seem like Bronny was a sideshow, a local celebrity instead of a basketball player, a part-time hooper who was too privileged to fly economy and travel like every other player in his situation. His popularity only added to this theory. Bronny sold over 500,000 jerseys, generating more than 50 million in revenue for the Lakers. It made people wonder, is this a situation where the Lakers knew he wasn't good enough and wanted to use him as a marketing tool for the South Bay Lakers to build attendances and make profit, only featuring him in home games so other teams don't get a piece of the pie? These were real theories that many people believed in at the time. But then something happened that nobody expected, and that was Bronny actually started playing well. In 21 minutes against the San Diego Clippers, Bronny finally had a solid game, with 16 points, 4 rebounds and 2 assists. For as good as it was though, he was still struggling with the 3-point shot, going 0 of 4 from the perimeter in an otherwise efficient scoring game. Then December 12, Bronny actually decided to travel on the road to face off against the Suns G League team, and he will be glad he did, because this game was possibly the turning point. In this game, Bronny was different. He set the tone early with a pair of threes early on.
Possession stays alive for Bronny James. A 3 is good. In 4 straight, the former Virginia Cavalier. Here's James trying to double up, and he can.
And this gave him the confidence to play at a level we hadn't seen from him since his high school days. Yes, this was a breakout game.
John Little before the game, and he was talking a little bit about what he's been able to build on here.
Hello, Bronny James.
There are NBA skills here.
And he's looked confident doing just that so far tonight. Bronny's working on Moses Wood. Gets to the elbow, between the legs on the handle. The follow-away is good. Here's James with 21 tonight, goes back to work, acrobatic, and he has a chance at a 3-point play.
Even if Snoop Dogg doesn't agree.
Snoop, is this a breakout performance for Bronny?
I think it's experience. There's no such thing as breakout in the G League. Come on now, quit playing with me.
Bronny went off for 30 points on 56% shooting from the field, with 3 rebounds and 2 assists to go along with it. But what was most impressive about Bronny in this game was his assertiveness. He looked comfortable, finding the right balance between getting shots up, but not forcing the issue. The game was close down the stretch, and Bronny showed that when the game slowed down, he was capable of producing in clutch moments.
He's feeling it right now. 24, looking to add on to it. No resistance. Float game's good. They'll turn to James. Bronny drives left lane line. Good off window. There's 28 for Bronny James. Nearly had it picked off. James inside. Finger roll. There's 30.
And while South Bay lost this game, it was a promising showing for LeBron James Jr. And then in the next game, against the same opponent, Bronny proved it wasn't a one-off, with 16 points, 2 rebounds and 2 assists. Sure, this wasn't quite as efficient, going 6 of 20 from the field, but even still, he was able to put the ball in the hole, which is something he couldn't do a few months ago, no matter how many shots he attempted. And it was around this point where Bronny got not just more comfortable scoring the ball, but also contributing in other ways. Against the Greensboro swarm, Bronny had 16 points again, but also had 5 assists, 4 rebounds and 3 steals, all of which were season highs across the board. The final game of the rookie showcase was an interesting one, because Bronny only had 6 points, but it wasn't like the 6-point games where he shoots 2 of 12 from the field. Bronny attempted just 7 shots, and made 43% of those attempts, so it wasn't like he was terribly inefficient. In this game he took on a different approach, the pure point guard role, and dished out 7 assists in this game, and some of these passes would have you thinking he was LeBron James Sr.
Got at the rim.
James goes up top. Great assist there.
Bronny able to get out in transition to push.
Finds Kelly for the easy layup. There by Culver. Misses. They find Bronny. Bronny with a great pass to Tyler Kelly.
Oh, and to cap off this performance, he also had 5 rebounds in this crazy block I need to show you.
Afternoon.
Thompson.
There you go.
Denied by James.
Bronny finished the tip-off tournament playing 7 games with the South Bay Lakers, and across the board, it's significantly better than anything we saw in college, summer league or preseason. Bronny averaged 13.4 points, 3.4 assists, 1.1 steals and almost a block per game. Sure, the efficiency wasn't great, shooting 37% from the field and 21% from the 3-point line, but that does improve, trust me, because since the beginning of the G League regular season, Bronny has taken his game to another level that nobody would have expected in this short of a time period.
Gordon alley-oop, here comes James, rams it home 2 hands from the 3-point line, charged by 5, 37-32. James to answer. And the coach stood up for Bronny and got the tee for it, and Bronny comes back and fires up a 3-ball of his own.
This was a great start to the season for Bronny, 15 points, making 3 of his 8 threes, but also doing other things in the game with 2 career highs with 7 rebounds and 4 steals along with 6 assists. Now usually when you play the same opponent in a back-to-back it's harder, because the opposing team has had a feel of playing against you and can figure you out easier, but in this case it was Bronny that figured them out, with an even better performance than last time. Bronny James this time had 15 points on 50% shooting. He made 3 of 5 threes from the perimeter, and his previous career high of 7 rebounds, he topped that in this game with 9 boards, 3 of them coming on the offensive glass. Bronny also did his duty as the point guard, setting up his teammates for 5 assisted baskets. This game was played on December 27th, 2024, but instead of continuing to play and build on his momentum in the G League, the Lakers decided to call him back to the main team. Why? I don't know, because Bronny did play January 7th against the Mavs, but he logged a grand total of 1 minute on the court. He didn't play again for almost 2 weeks. That's if you count 2 minutes against the Clippers in garbage time actually playing. Same thing happened again January 21st against the Washington Wizards, one of the worst NBA teams. Surely this was a great opportunity to give Bronny some burn. No, he only played 2 minutes in that game too, and it makes you question why, when Bronny's playing his best basketball in South Bay, would you pull him out of that situation for basically a full month, only to play a couple of meaningless minutes in the NBA. The strategy from the Lakers became very questionable, and it doesn't get any worse than this, because the Lakers didn't play Bronny much against the Eastern Conference's worst team, but then decided it would be a better idea to double his minutes in a nationally televised game against the current NBA champions. And as you can expect, playing against arguably the best team in the NBA, it didn't end too well for Bronny. After a few brief cameos, the Lakers finally realized that Bronny checking into games for under 5 minutes a night really wasn't doing him any good in terms of his development as a player, so they made the smart decision to send him back to the G League. I would love to tell you that was the last bad decision made in this video, but unfortunately it's not. Returning to the G League was good for Bronny, and January 24th he had his best game yet. Taking on the Rip City Remix, Bronny played 35 minutes, his most in a game this season, and he went crazy.
Here's the lob of LeBron James. In there behind you. And James turns on the Jets. James steps into a 3. Bronny James the other way. Here's James attacking the runner. James down the paint. Bronny James.
James Jr. dropped 31 points, hit 5 free balls, shot 45% from the field, had 3 assists, 2 rebounds and 2 steals in a victory. If there was ever a time where Bronny needed a game like this, it was now. And you can see how much it meant to him in the post-game interview. All of a sudden, the narrative surrounding Bronny James was changing, and that's because he was rapidly improving in real time. His stats in the G League looked like a legitimate pro. Bronny was top 10 in scoring, averaging 23 points per game, ranking in at 7th. He was now scoring efficiently too, shooting 43% from the field and 46% from the 3-point line. Let's not forget about the 6 rebounds and 5 assists he was averaging too, and also what he was doing on the defensive end. Bronny was top 10 in steals, averaging 2 a game, and since the restart, Bronny was playing like one of the best rookies in the G League and proving himself to be a two-way player. The G League is no joke. Some of the best players outside of the NBA are in the G League right now, and Bronny was showing that he belongs, and not just that he can compete with them, but that he can stand out amongst them. Everything seemed like it was going to plan, and the plan was working. Bronny was confident, coming into his own, and the logical play was surely to let him continue to build upon his strong start and continue earning his way in the G League. He was gaining the respect of the masses, receiving praise from the media for his play on the basketball court. But then the Lakers just had to mess everything up. Once again, instead of prioritizing Bronny's development, they made the same mistake again and set him up for complete failure, and threw him into the fire against the Philadelphia 76ers. And this was the worst thing they could have done. Bronny played the most minutes of his NBA career yet, 15 minutes. JJ Redick called him into the game in the first quarter, and quickly realized that was a massive mistake.
3:40 to go, opening quarter. Step in, steal. Yabusele trucks his way to the rim. Finney-Smith, kick. Bronny James, off. Steps through. Bronny 3. Off the mark. Rush up the floor. Bronny blocks.
What I showed you just there is just offense, but the defense was even worse. Tyrese Maxey, one of the premier guards in the Eastern Conference, welcomed Bronny to the league in brutal fashion, hunting him and frying him time and time again. This game was an absolute disaster for Bronny James. He got exposed badly. 15 points, 0 minutes, 0-5 from the field and 0-3 from the perimeter with 3 turnovers. But there was no escape in this performance from Bronny. It was so bad, and the way the Lakers handled it was even worse, because JJ Redick basically threw him under the bus in the post-game interview.
You know, he didn't play well, but he's been playing great, you know, in the Stay Ready games, and he's been playing great in the G. So I have confidence in him, but obviously didn't provide that at a high level.
You'd think after this that they would protect Bronny, but they continued to play him in the NBA. Bronny played in the Lakers' next game against Washington, and even in a near 40-point blowout win, Bronny still couldn't get his. In 12 minutes he had 2 assists, 2 rebounds, a steal, even finished with 5 points. But this was his only field goal after 6 attempts.
Bronny, here he goes, and count it!
Ending his streak of over 100 days without a made NBA field goal. Coming back from these nationally broadcasted humiliations wasn't going to be easy, and a lot of people thought how Bronny responds to this will make or break him. And here's where everything changed. Bronny was sent back to the G League, and just when he needed a break from the spotlight, he got that in the most unlikely of circumstances, because the LA Lakers traded Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic, acquiring a top 3 player in the world today. This trade was so crazy and unexpected that it dominated NBA headlines for an entire month. And all of a sudden, the narrative surrounding the Lakers was different. The Bronny LeBron father-son sideshow was no longer at the front of people's minds. Whenever people talk about the Lakers now, it's about Luka and the possibility of winning championships. Not even LeBron is the focal point anymore. And that's actually a blessing in disguise, because it allows Bronny James some time in the shadows. With all eyes on the Lakers in LA, nobody's been paying attention to what's been going on in South Bay, and Bronny picked up exactly where he left off in the G League. In his first game back, he was solid, with 16 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds and 3 steals. Then a few days later, he had one of his best games in the G League so far. Bronny played with confidence, his chest out, flexing like his father after and ones, and taking it coast to coast like Prince James should. And what about this dunk right here?
Bronny James sees an angle.
And he goes up and down.
In this game, Bronny had 28 points, 5 rebounds and 2 assists, shooting 52% from the field. JJ Redick and the Lakers were impressed, and even though they were advised not to, they made the brave move to call Bronny back up to the NBA team. Now this was sneakily a good time to do this. It was Luka's debut, so all the talk and attention was going to be on him, and what completely went under the radar was the fact that Bronny had his best game in the NBA yet.
With the makeup game due to the wildfires, here's Bronny, got it! The attacking zone, terminating the dribble, Bronny again!
It's the same team.
Gave up more than
He scored 132 in a win and then gave up 132 in a loss.
Bronny James!
He played 7 minutes, had 9 points, shot 3 of 4 from the field and 2 of 3 from 3-point range. He even got himself an assist too. And it seems like finally, after getting it wrong so many times, the Lakers learned their lesson. They didn't hang him out to dry. After this good game, they sent Bronny back to the G League, allowed him to continue building his confidence, and he hasn't played an NBA game since. And he followed this up in the G League with his most efficient game yet.
The opening 12, he stops and starts, falls away, and puts it in.
Facility there, get a nice little Euro stuff action.
Oh, Bronny with a beautiful teardrop. Our entire crew lob it up to James, and he puts it in off the glass.
Again, you have to stay connected.
Bronny James sticks the corner triple.
Bronny had 24 points on 10 of 16 shooting. That's 63% from the field. He made 66% of his 3-point attempts, going 4 of 6, throwing 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and his highest FIC rating in a game this season. Then you have an all-around great performance. And his most recent game was a solid one too. Against the Salt Lake City Stars, Bronny had 16 points, 6 rebounds, and a season-high 8 assists. In this game, Bronny really embraced his responsibility as the floor general, creating shot attempts for his teammates by distributing the ball, showcasing his improvement as a true point guard. And even if you're the biggest Bronny James hater, you have to admit he looks significantly better in 2025 than he did in 2024. And it's clear now that a lot of his struggles have been mental. We have a large enough sample size now to know that Bronny James is a good G League player, and if you forget everything else, how he got there, and just look at what he's doing from the lens of a 55th pick in the draft, a lot of NBA teams would be happy with their second round pick performing like this. For the G League season, he's averaging 21.9 points, 5.4 rebounds, 5.1 assists and 2 steals. He's shooting 44% from the field and 39% from 3-point range. He's turned it around in such a short period of time and is actually playing at a respectable level. The question now is, can the Lakers manage this appropriately? Things are going so well in LA. The Lakers are flying up the Western Conference standings and are now the 2nd seed in the West since the Luka trade. It's important to remember that while Bronny James is getting better, that does not mean he's ready. They cannot get carried away by this and throw him into a playoff series against somebody like Denver or OKC. That would undo all the good work Bronny has done over these last few months. I think we've seen enough from Bronny in the NBA this season. The way to go is to keep him in the G League, allow him to focus solely on the South Bay Lakers, try to make a run in the G League playoffs, and maybe after the G League season is over, you can call him up for a few meaningless games at the end of the regular season in April when you decide to rest LeBron Luka ahead of the playoffs. Then you allow Bronny to return to Vegas for Summer League, have a main role with the team, push him hard in training camp, see what he can do in preseason, and reevaluate from there. There is no need to rush the process. Bronny is 20 years old. What we know for sure now is that Bronny is a good basketball player. Whether or not he's an NBA player remains to be seen. But I think it's important to recognize that while he has improved and the improvement is promising, he is not ready to be a part of an NBA rotation right now. But he is going in the right direction, and this has the potential to be a great success story. From a guy that everybody said wasn't good enough to turn it around and in the end actually be a good player. This depends on the Lakers as much as Bronny James though. Because of the media, the attention, and who Bronny is, they must take great care with how they handle this situation going forward. But what do you guys think? Is Bronny James ready for the NBA? Do you think it's the best strategy to keep him in the G League and allow him to continue to develop? Or do you completely disagree with me and feel like he's not good enough for the league, point blank period? Share your thoughts and feedback down below in the comments, subscribe and turn on notifications if you've watched up to this point. And since you guys are kind of interested in the G League, check out our video talking about the G League GOAT, the all-time leading scorer who never made it in the NBA. I'm sure you guys will love that video, so go check that out. And on that note, it's DKM signing out. Until next time, and peace.